Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Johnny, here with a very special guest, the one, the only, Mr. Sleepless Skies, otherwise known as Simon. What's up, Simon? How you doing?
Hi, Johnny. Yeah, good man. How are you?
Very, very good. Well, yeah, I am honored to have Simon here, who will be sharing some of his awesome successes recently. But first, let's talk about the Colorize track, because that just came out, right?
That's right. Yeah, it just came out on Monday. Yeah.
Amazing, man. How's that going? How the stats doing so far?
Streams are great, all kicking off very strong. I've had an extraordinary kind of reception to it. I've been doing a lot of Submit Hub action
Yeah,
and got it on nearly every single one that I put it on, which is a bit of a first, really. That's quite exciting.
that's
And
incredible, man.
just had lots of lovely feedback as well. To be honest, the stats are great, but what I really love is when someone just reaches out and goes, "I've had this on in the car all day," and
Yeah.
that feeling of like you're just a part of someone's life for, a few minutes, just making their day better. That's
Mm.
actually the bit that kind of gets me excited.
Yeah, well, numbers are just figures on a paper, but actually, like the emotional connection is way more important, and that's honestly why we do what we do, right? It's for that. Um, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, the track is phenomenal. I remember when you sent it to me on the feedback calls, I was like, this is sick. So the fact that you got it out on Colorize is fantastic. Like how does that feel?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's a very much a success story from the program, right? Because that track started out as a piece of homework from the program, from your program. So it was the chords doing Dorian mode and all that stuff. That
Ah,
track,
yeah, yeah, of course.
that track is written in A Dorian, and then there was a bunch of little kind of weird effects and stuff that we were learning to do from you using Ableton Warp modes. You
Yeah,
know, sampling a load of stuff. That's all in that track as well. So it all kind of started off there, and then like the guys. So I worked with Joshy and Jamie from Hex and Solstice on it,
mm,
as you know, and who sung on it, and they wrote the song and the lyrics and sung and performed it beautifully. Like they're so. I just did a track walkthrough on the track, and like I was just talking about the fact that there's no pitch correction on any of it. It's all like melodyne free. It's just them. So
yeah.
they did such a beautiful job. But like again, they're guys that I met through the community, through your contacts through the community. So it's very much a marksman success story, that track.
Well, I my name wasn't on the contract, so that's all you, I'm afraid. But you feel
You
free to give me 20% or something. Like, I'm just kidding.
have a point. You can have an exec producer credit.
Yeah, yeah. Like a Rick Rubin style kind of
Yeah.
producing. I did nothing. I just kind of sat here. I can't play any instruments. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just testament to like what you've learned, I guess. Like it's a fantastic track. And I mean, the other day you said you signed a bunch to Monowave as well, right? And yeah, run us through that.
That's right. So Monowave, I've got one with as well with Mark from the program. We've got one on Hathor.
Mm,
So, but Monowave, these are labels I absolutely love, like Colorize, Monowave, Hathor. I think they're all just, along with people like Sakura, and they're all really kind of, for me, they are defining this sound, this kind of melodic house and progressive house sound that's
yeah.
growing in popularity. That sort of, I guess, Anjunadeep kind of cut the initial kind of turf here, but these guys have taken it on and are carrying it forward. And I love all these labels. So to have my music on these labels and to be contributing to that scene is just so exciting. It's kind of when we spoke at the start, before I'd even done the program, we were just talking about what my kind of vision was. Like
Mm,
that for me was what I wanted. I wanted to achieve, is to just have my music kind of as part of this conversation.
sure, yeah. Well, Monowave's a really big one because, they get insane streaming numbers. So, when's that due to release, or do you have a date, or can you tell us, or?
Yes, I that one is June, I think, isn't it? Yeah, Hathor's first in May, and then we've got Monowave in June. Yeah,
Mm.
that's.
Awesome.
And I love, I mean, goodness me, they've got some amazing artists that have been putting stuff out on Monowave, like the Noise guys, for example.
Yeah,
Who I love. I'm always listening to Noise, and so I think that what they're doing is very professional and has a real kind of high standard, like a real polish to it,
yeah,
which is it's great to be on there.
yeah. And speaking of Norse, you played at their event, right, in Nottingham at the Cave Rave. How did that go?
I did. I think you have to play a rave in a cave at some point in your life. I think it's like a rite of passage, but no,
Everyone
it's
wants Tomorrowland, but actually, what they really want is the Cave Rave.
well, the funny thing is that so when I started going out clubbing, it was to small kind of grimy venues with a low ceiling and like a
Mm,
makeshift sound system, and it was all pretty kind of DIY, but that's what I loved, right? It just had
yeah,
all about the music. There was no pretentiousness, just about music. And it feels like Deep Underground kind of really recreates that. Like I love that about it. So yeah, it was a great night. Lovely, lovely crowd of people. Played with just her and Into the Ether.
yeah,
So real killer lineup. And go to Deep Underground in Nottingham. I highly recommend it to
yeah.
everyone.
Shout out those guys; they're fucking great. Yeah. Mark was saying. Speaking of Deep Underground, 'cause I think I met him for the first time at like in person at least at Deep Underground Knots. Um, yeah, he was saying how awesome it was as well. Like, yeah, they always bring the thunder there. But just speaking of Mark, like you doing the collaborations with him, that's really awesome. I mean, we had him on the the channel a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't watched that, go click right here to check that out. But yeah, you guys are really making the most out of this, and you're getting the results, which is really really awesome to see. So what's next for you? What's the rest plan? The next plan for 2025? Like I think you were saying before the call, you had wanted to do a track a month, right?
Yeah, so my release ambition this year is to release a track every month, but on all on like labels that I really like. I mean, like,
Hmm.
you know the way it is with independent labels. There's millions of independent labels. Anyone
Yeah,
will put out if you just give it to them. But will they actually do it? Will it do anything for your music is the big question, you're out, right?
yeah,
So I've got a set of labels that I really respect and like, and I want to my aim is to get a track on one of those every month for 12 months. And so far, I have that lined up. I have I have it lined up until about August, and then I
mm,
need to start filling the hopper. But I've got some really fun stuff coming, like a collaboration, couple of tracks I've written with Tom Wild, who's been
yeah,
on Sakura. So he and I have written a couple, which are great fun. A really nice, interesting merging of our styles.
mm,
Uh, and then a couple of other bits coming up as well. Maybe another one with Hex and Solstice. We'll see. That's
yeah. I love
brewing.
working with those guys. They're so good. I've actually got one with Hex and Solstice as well. Speaking of Sakura, they may be interested. Let's get it done. But I think the Sakura signing for you is not too far away, particularly now that you've got the Colorize one out the way and the monowave ones. Then they'll know that you're legit, and it's just a case of finding the right track. They are, as I'm sure you're aware with these labels, like incredibly picky, and you know, you might be feeling the track like this is perfect for them, and they're like, no, this is not what we're looking for, and you're like, what? Okay, but it's a numbers game, isn't it? As I'm sure you're aware.
Well, it is, but I think we'll come on to talk a bit about the program in a bit. But like, I think one of the things that you find when you're starting out is that your production finish, the level of quality production, just isn't there. So it doesn't
Mm,
really matter what you send them. Your quality, the finish on the tracks just isn't. It's not going to get signed. It's not professional enough. And so it's actually taken me, doing your program and just producing a lot, like just and learning from other
hmm.
people. It's taken me a while to get to the point where my finish on my production is there now. Now it's a question of like, is it the right track? Is it the right fit? Do they like the vocal in it? Or, it becomes a bit more subjective. Like the feedback I'm getting now on tracks, I had a couple from Colorize. They came back and they didn't want to take them recently. But the feedback isn't, look, this is nowhere near good enough. The feedback is, it's just not what we want to sign right now. It's like
Yeah.
something else. So it's like,
Uh,
okay, that's fine. That's a totally different order of feedback.
Yeah, I mean it's still annoying, but it's like better than hey, this is like you need to work on it, right? And it's to like testament like that as you know when you start sending music out, the feedback's usually just like, oh, this is cool, but not for us or whatever. But it gets warmer and warmer and warmer the further you get down to the point where they're just basically kind of telling you exactly what you need to do and exactly the sound they're going for. Like I remember you've shared a few emails from them or like screenshots and like, yep, you're in the right place. Just it's track specific, really, at this point, which is it's a good problem to have, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and they are like I think all of the guys who run those labels, Colorize, Sakura, all of that, they're really helpful people. Actually, they
mm,
want you to succeed. They want to make good music, and so they've been really helpful to me. Even I mean, I must have sent tons of stuff to Colorize, for example, right? But every track I've sent, like just trying to get on the label has made me a better producer. Like I think you listen to your music in a different way when you're comparing it to the absolute best in the business. And
yeah,
s- and the feedback they give me in the past has been super helpful as well. So I'm a huge fan of that. I think people should just go for it.
I agree, and I think you said something very important there, where people often get like quite siloed in just their own music, and they're like, "Wow, this is so good," but then you actually need to have a quite real sort of sit down and compare it to the best of the best and see where you are in the pecking order. Now, with that said, you shouldn't get annoyed at where you're at. You just need to be like, okay, this is the reality. I still have progress to make, and how you choose to get that level up is going to be a product of one or two things, right? It's either like go get help, which can speed up the process, or just constant iterations and taking time. There is no real secret. Either way, you're going to have to be producing like crazy. It's just if you have a bit of guidance, that can absolutely help. So yeah, speaking of like what did you find was the best parts about the program and like how was your experience? And you can be totally honest here as well. Like, if you thought it was a load of shit, just say it and we'll still upload it.
Well, I don't obviously think it was a load of shit. I think honestly, like what you've just said was certainly, if I was to pick the sort of top three or four things, like what you've just said would have been like right at the top, which is I had kind of hit a point as a producer where I just couldn't really improve a lot more on my own. I was really struggling to know what to do differently. And having feedback, having listening to my stuff every week and just sitting there with an EQ and going, right, there's a build up there, move this up here. Let's look at the width of this. Let's look at the way this has been put together. Everything from like, are the samples that selected right? That level of precision of feedback was teaching me, first of all, to listen more carefully to my own music and to listen more critically to my own music. But it's just also, I like it just leaps you forward. You could maybe you can muddle through that on your own. I'm sure some people do, but it
Mm,
just is such an accelerator to have someone just point that out. And
yeah.
then I was finding that I was like I said, I was listening to my own music in a different way because I was starting to think, I know what I know what Johnny's gonna say on Tuesday night. So I have to start thinking ahead.
Yeah.
And that's making me better at critically listening to my own stuff. So that was huge for me, actually. That was one of the biggest things.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember seeing like after a while when we were sending music, it would be a point where it's like, I don't really know if there's anything to really say. It's just kind of like, hey, maybe there's a little bit too much 2K and bump it down by a dB or so. But like you could definitely see like the improvements with that. And I think a lot of people don't really understand the importance of feedback because they might be sending it to their friends who are all just yes men or yes girls and they don't want to hurt their feelings and tell them what they need to hear, which is how you grow, right? If you just have a bunch of people being like, yeah, this is awesome, I love it, when there's inherent problems with it, that's never going to help you get better. But also, if your friends aren't producers with trained ears, like then like you're just wasting your time sending your music to them for like critical feedback, right? Because they can't tell you what how to fix the problem, and even if they could, they probably wouldn't want to hurt your feelings. So you need someone that's just going to be like open, honest, and also know how to fix them, right? So
Yeah, yeah. To
yeah,
actually you have to know what they're hearing, right? Because all like your average person just hears that it doesn't sound as good as the other stuff they hear on the radio, but they don't
yeah,
know, you know?
yeah. They are aware it's not that good, but it's just
Yeah.
how do you say that they have no actual like repertoire or like knowledge to be like your kick's super buried in, but they don't know that, but they can hear it. It's just they're listening to like the big picture, whereas like the pro or trained producer is going to see all the little details in the artwork, so to speak. Whereas your friend just sees the Mona Lisa, but like an art critic is going to be like, oh, actually, those strokes there were really tasty or whatever, or not. Um, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like, what else did you find really helps like with with the journey, would you say?
So community was a massive part of it. Like I was
Mm,
producing on my own. I can tell you now, for me anyway, I found producing on my own really hard. I think it is a bit of a solo journey to some extent. But when you haven't got people around you kind of giving you feedback, but also helping you, collaborating with you, sharing knowledge and tips. I mean, the amount of stuff I've learned off the other producers in
yeah.
the and actually just like moral support, just playing stuff and having people go, wow, this is really cool. We really love it. It G's you up and gives you some energy and takes you into the next project and kind of that. And then, like I say, like the people I've met, so people I've collaborated with, obviously the guys for the track on Colorize came through you, Tom, I met through you. That was because we played together at your event, Tom and
Yeah,
I
that's true. Yeah.
struck up a friendship and now we're producing together, and like going to Amsterdam and meeting everyone at ADE and kind of making so many connections out there. I met the guys from Monowave, Hathor, met them all at ADE,
Mm,
So it's I think community like music is fundamentally a community activity, right? It's about people coming together and sharing something, sharing
sure.
music, sharing like dancing together, all that. That's what we're doing. We're bringing people together around music. So you kind of have to do it. It's not a solo act. You have to do it as a group. And the community you've built is phenomenal now. I mean, it's huge now, I think, isn't it? It was pretty big when I joined, but I think it's vast at this point.
Yeah, we're getting there, and we still want to grow it even further. Of course, with growing, there are problems of scale, but we have some very good ways to fix it, which I can't quite disclose publicly just at the moment, but fear not. Now, yeah, you are absolutely right. Like, when I started out, I know that exact feeling. I didn't know anybody, didn't know what the hell I was doing or if what I was doing was right. But just having those people in your corner, like the accountability, but also just sharing that same goal and mission, that struggle together can be absolutely huge. So for people out there that are sat on their own, it doesn't have to be this way. I guess one final thing is like, what would you, now that you have gotten to where you want to be, so you've, well, a milestone in where you want to be with the Colorize release, the Above and Beyond group therapy mixes, playing in Amsterdam, and supporting Just Her, and all of these signings that you've got are coming out of your ears by the sounds of things. What would you tell your past self? So if we were to go back 5 years ago to where you were, um, what would you tell yourself 5 years ago that from today's Simon?
Um, I would try and persuade my previous self not to be so self-critical and to allow myself to just be in a process. Like, learning to produce, it just takes time. You have to train your ears, you have to train your skills, and making bad music is a really important part of that process.
Hmm.
You know, every track you make that isn't any good and that you hate because it doesn't sound as good as the stuff you love, that's actually a really important part of your journey. And the next one will be a bit better, and the next one, and the next one. So I wish I had been a little easier on myself because I was pretty hard on myself, and
Sure.
the point of like at times going, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I want to give up. And that would have been just so sad because this is making me really happy. So
Right.
uh, yeah, so I think just try and go easy on yourself if you're struggling. It just gets better. Just keep doing it.
Absolutely. Well, it's not easy. Like we both know full well that even today you're still sometimes like, oh, this is not working. But like, it's all about persevering and showing up. There is no secret. And anybody that says that you're gonna snap your finger, like buy this course, it's gonna change everything in 2 days, like it's all bullshit. Like there is no secret. You have to do the work, and also you have to know what you're doing, right? And do the right things. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Now, with that in mind, if any of you are sat there and feeling like I am on my own and I wish I had a community around me, I wish I had some guidance and the ability to get feedback from people like myself or others, then and you're also wanting to sign to labels such as Colorize or labels of that magnitude, play DJ sets or whatnot, there is a link in the description to go book a call with me or Tim, who's my business partner, but you'll probably be speaking to me. And there'll be a video on that page that just explains exactly what we do in our program, how it all works, and what you can expect. But go click a link, go book that call, and we can speak to you directly about turning your dreams into a reality, as cringy as that sounds. But only click that link if you are serious about this, because we don't want to waste our time, and why would you want to waste your time either? So, yeah, link in the description, go click it. Otherwise, Simon, where can we find you on Instagram, or what's your
Yeah,
handle?
Instagram, Sleep the Skies, YouTube. I've got a really good, a growing YouTube channel, which has got loads of like advice and tips and all that stuff.
Yes.
Sleep the Skies as well. That's probably the two main places to get me.
All right. Well, we'll put those in the description as well. So if you want to go check out Simon's music, which you should because it's fucking awesome, I love it. Go check it out in the description, and I'll let you get back to it, Simon. Thanks for hopping on today. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you very soon.
Nice one. Cheers, Johnny. See you soon, man.
Catch you later.